Scale, exit, repeat.
Make $1 million using AI. Okay, that's a pretty bold claim, a pretty bold show. That's what we're talking about today. Can you use AI to help you make $1 million in wealth? And we've got some examples here. We've got the community here coming together to answer that question. But before we get started, as the room begins to fill in, I thought I would play something from our newsletter. This is right from the newsletter that I wrote an article last week for the new startup.club newsletter. You can go to the startup.club and you can sign up to the email list, and it'll be free. So get out there, go to the website and sign up. But as the room fills in, I'm just going to play this LLM for a bit. I've been there. It's 2 a.m. The blue light from your screen is just frying your eyeballs, and you're staring at that blinking cursor on your favorite AI. Yep. And you're tired, you're ambitious, and you type that one forbidden prompt: "Hey AI, make me $1 million." The modern version of rubbing a genie's lamp, for sure. Yeah. Asking for infinite wishes. It totally is. And, usually the AI just politely tells you to go buy some index funds or maybe start a dropshipping business. It's so generic, it's safe. But today, we are unpacking a deep dive that actually takes that prompt seriously. We're looking at the February 2026 issue of the monthly Startup Club newsletter by Colin C. Campbell. And let me tell you, the answer he got from the AI, and more importantly, what he did with it, is going to completely rewire how you think about building a company. It's a really fascinating case study. Because what we're looking at here isn't just, AI hype. We're past that phase now. This is a pragmatic, nuts and bolts look at what it takes to be an entrepreneur in 2026. We're covering the whole spectrum today. I mean, from a founder who literally cannot code, building a fully functional app with just screenshots, all the way to like the specific TV shows you should be watching to really understand corporate power. It's the founder's edge, right? That's what we're after today. That's our mission, to pull out that tactical mindset. Well, I wanted you to have a chance to just listen to that for a minute. That's the LLM that gets included in every newsletter. I found it interesting. I spent a lot of time working on this topic, how to make $1 million using AI. And I just learned a lot through the process and discovered that there's a unique way of doing this. You cannot you cannot outsource the entrepreneur. Okay, let me be very, very clear. When it comes to AI, you cannot outsource the entrepreneur. When it comes to starting a business, you cannot outsource the entrepreneur. That entrepreneur is there. That instinct is there. It's like the fuel and the engine that makes wealth happen. You cannot eliminate the entrepreneur. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking about, oh, well, then how do I connect other things to make money? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And this is an open mic session. There is no get rich quick answer to making $1 million using AI. I mean, I tried it. Okay, so I went into the AI and I typed in, I want you to make me $1 million. And here was the actual response. Humans ask for things like this all the time. Like, money is just something I can print out between software updates. I can't magically deposit $1 million into your account. If I could, I'd be already living on a server farm on a private island. Now, I'll have to say on my ChatGPT setting, I do have C3PO as my setting. So here is my next question. Okay, I want to make $1 million. I have an idea for an app that could launch on the App Store. Help me build it, help me market it, and help me get to $1 million in revenue. Now, here's the response. Now we're talking. This is at least a plan that exists in the same universe as physics. An app can absolutely get you to 1 million in revenue. And here's how it's going to work. Idea, MVP, users, retention, monetization, scale. Now, can you see the difference between the two conversations? Go out, make me $1 million, or let me start thinking of an idea. And the first idea I ran here on this one was a game called Rummy Gummy. And understand, I've never coded a thing in my life. I mean, I've never been a geek. I've always aspired to be one. That's the reality in all of my companies. I've never done any. I don't even know how to transfer a domain name. Like, I really don't have the technical acumen to do this kind of stuff. But what I did is I went into Claude AI, Claude Code, and I started to create an app for a card game called Rummy Gummy, which is an Australian card game. And there were no apps on the App Store, so I've no doubt there could be some demand for this because I went to look for it myself. And then I'm asking the AI to help walk me through every path through this. Now, we have about 20 companies in our incubator here, and AI is becoming like absolutely essential in every aspect of business. We're doing a Kickstarter that's going to launch on March 3rd, and that's for the new outdoor dog bed that paw.com made. And we're going to continue, but we're using AI every step of the way to help us be successful with that campaign. I call it an AI mindset. It's about changing the way you think about almost everything you do. And that's where it kicks off. That's where it starts. All right, Michelle, my Michelle Van Tilburg, my co-host. Thank you for joining us, and we want to hear
Well,
from you.
thank you. I think I was going to ask you, Colin, have you made $1 million using AI?
And
Like it
no,
kind
that's
of,
fine. That's fine. It's a good question. I have not yet, or I don't know actually the answer because I've been now
right.
using AI for 2 years, and there are so many moments. Like right now, I'm working on one other company, and we're just like I asked it to create. We're working with Claude again. I asked it to help me create a website, and it's created this website. It did the formats. It did certain things, stuff that I wouldn't think about. Like you have a vision in your own mind, and by the way, like a lot of times I add. Okay, I'm not saying the AI is going to feed the entrepreneur. What I'm saying is the entrepreneur is going to learn, like use the AI as a tool to solve problems and build opportunities. Okay, and so the difference in the two questions, Michelle, around which, by the way, I never finished the story about the app. I actually got to a working version. Never in my life have I ever coded a thing, pretty much, and I actually got to a working version. And then it made me think. Okay, so now you're only limited to your imagination. Okay, as an entrepreneur, if you can imagine something, you can create it. But if you create it, you're an artist, you have to market it. You have to market it, but you have to get logistics. You have to deal with all the other elements in that business. But you're not an expert in any of those businesses. You're not an expert in any of those businesses.
All right. So let's back up a second. So I asked you that question just as a leading question, right? So what we're trying to really get to is what are the tools that are helping us make right in our businesses that are really like moving the dial and helping us make $1 million. This is what I'm kind of thinking right now,
Yeah, I don't
Colin.
know it's a magic tool. I think it's a mentality right now. I think that's what the show's really about. It's
Okay.
about this mentality. Right.
It's
So I
not a
was trying
tool,
to
but they are
say, Michelle,
tools.
like we're
They are tools.
entrepreneurs tend to be jack of all trades, master of none. This is the opportune time in history to be master of all trades. From legal, logistics, marketing, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're bringing AI along for the ride. And continuing that story of the software, what I did is I created the software using Claude, and then it said, okay, now upload it to Xcode. And I'm like, I don't know how to upload text code. So I opened, I got it said, okay, do the following, and I downloaded it and I put it on my Mac, and then I said, and then it said, okay, move it over directory by directory. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So I tried and it failed, and then I did a screenshot. I went back to the AI. I said, okay, here's what's showing. So I'm doing screenshots now. Goes back, and it said, oh, it errored out. Okay, took another screenshot. I must have did about 10 or 15 screenshots with Xcode before I finally figured out how to use it. And by the way, I did actually learn how to use it in the process. And AI could actually help us think more. It's not about the amount of thought that goes into an idea or execution. It's the you want to be able to scale that thought, and you can do that through the AI. All right, today we're talking about making $1 million using AI the right way and the wrong way. And I'm making the case here, and if you're in the audience, I know, magnificent. Nice to see you there, and there's a lot of you out there. We'd love to have you on stage to talk to us about how you've used AI to really help you with your business, to help you grow, to help you scale, to help you launch an idea. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I use it a day. I'm probably about 60% of my time on an AI app. How about yourself, Michelle?
Well, I don't think I'm on 60%, but I'm on a lot. Okay. And I don't know, for me right now, do I think it makes me smart? It helps me in one particular way. Like I have the ideas. I feel like it helps me refine the ideas, Colin, is more like it. Therefore, I'm going to say, what I don't know, I might be missing too, right? I like it because I can be like, okay, I know you missed this and this and that. What's wrong with you, girl?
Yeah,
And
it organizes big data, right? So
yeah,
you can
like,
if you
so
have a
it's
lot of
good
data you need to
because I
analyze
know a
and you want to work with
little, and it helps me that way. But I get so annoyed, like, oh my gosh, it's like so like blindsided. So I don't think anybody can sit here and tell me that it works, implicitly and it could run your whole
No, but
life
it's
and your
but
whole
it can be
business.
a
No,
guide. It can be a very, very effective guide because
it help again, it helps me save time because I have the ideas. Yes, I do uncover things as well. I don't know everything, but it really helps me personally articulate it and organize it, which I'm not always the best at. Okay, it
hey, let me
helps.
ask you a question. So like you're doing this Kickstart March 3rd,
Yeah.
this Kickstarter campaign, and you've never done one before. How have you used AI to make
Oh my
certain that
gosh. I've used it tremendously,
can you give it
tremendously.
yeah, give us some
Like,
examples, some real specifics.
like just like researching what is best practice. I'm a big one for using queries, that are like, what will get me the highest conversion, right? These kind of things. So it helped me do that. As you know, we analyzed even the production video, which was absolutely fascinating to see done.
So what do you
Right
mean
now
by that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean when you
well,
analyze the
we had a
production?
video, remember? We
Yeah?
went and did a real live video like any good Kickstarter should do. This is, by the way, for paw.com, and it's for this very cool new product that's an outdoor bed that we're getting ready to do a Kickstarter on that already we're hearing is going to be successful. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. So,
At least the AI says it's gonna be successful, it's gonna make you $1,000,000.
well, other people have too. So, anyways, all right, now you made me forget what I was going to say. Oh, we had a video that we recorded. We had a professional production company, etc. And then we were like, oh gosh, we don't know if this is good or not. Like we think it is, like it was our idea, of course. So we actually uploaded the production video and it gave us so much good insight and feedback. And then you don't know this, Colin, because you're not involved in this part, but Courtney and I are working on a detailed marketing schedule. Like I'm asking it for best practice and for timing and messaging and blah, 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 blah through all the way from pre-launch to post-launch. I've been very impressed. And we actually are like, oh, let's keep all these sightings that they do on every recommendation because we might actually want to click on it and look at it. Okay, you get what I'm saying here? Like it gave back a full schedule, very detailed. I had to refine it like 10 times, but that's okay. It's faster than me spending 2 weeks doing it. I could spend 10 hours. And then it gave me sites for all the best practices, blog posts and videos and stuff. And that is like been like phenomenal experience. Like, we would have had to pay $25,000 to hire like a special agency.
It does
And
reduce your costs a lot, right? With
yeah,
having AI.
it would have been at least 25. You know it. You have hired agencies before, but we're choosing to do it all our own. And so far, so good. But again, I think you said your mindset, and I think you have something there, and I might characterize it a little bit differently. It's like a thirst for knowledge and really exploring whatever topic. You're not just like, you know, you're not going to offend it, obviously, or at least we think, right? Could take it on its own persona, but you're not like you really have to push it and push yourself as a result to think outside of the box so you don't miss things and even ask it, what am I missing? And is this a stupid idea?
Right.
That's how I think it's best used. And it is massively time saving and it writes a hell of a lot better than most people I know.
So
Colin.
you are only limited to your imagination. You can do anything with AI today as long as you put your mind to it, as long as you come up with a creative, innovative way of thinking and communicating with it, it can make you $1,000,000 of wealth. Now, Jason, let me ask you a question. Can you just go to an AI? Why can't you just go to an AI, Jason, and say, make me $1 million and go deposit the money in my bank account?
Oh, you can do that, right? You did it, and that's what it said, right? I think that the imagination is what it that can't do. So, rightly said, I could give a couple practical examples. So, Colin, I was not a coder, and in fact, I thought about it because I love technology, but I in high school we had one programming class, and I used to fall asleep. Honestly, like I think I still did well. I think I still got an A, but I really find it boring. I'm a creative, so I studied business, and now I'm just at my MacBook because I worked at Microsoft, but I switched over to the dark side. I guess I like my MacBook now. It's spitting out JavaScript for me. I never learned JavaScript, but I just tell it what I want and there's a lot of different ones, but ChatGPT, and it spits out the JavaScript. I have no idea how JavaScript works, but I just plug it in, and it ends up looking okay, right? And a practical example how it can't do creativity. I used to rap, not a gangster rapper. More of like a gospel rapper, and I think I gave this practical example before, but I went in the studio with Toronto Poets, I think in 2005. I know the young people don't know that was a year, but it was a year. And I paid the studio engineer $10,500 for a compilation album for Toronto Poets, 15 different artists. Most of it was the first time I ever in the studio. And I produced more and I think better songs just with the Suno app in the last few months, and I really think they're better. Somebody else could judge, but I
Oh,
have
I'm
more
with you on
imagination.
that. I mean, when
Yeah,
we did the
I
theme
think they're
song for
better.
Startup Club, right? It was pretty damn good. We used Marika, Mureki, Marika A, but it was we called it Sono app, right? What do you call
Yeah,
it, Sono?
That's what he
Suno.
said.
I use Suno, but
Suno.
Maruka, maybe it's I don't even know. I'll check it out maybe because Suno only costs $30 a month. I'm not getting kickbacks at all.
It's the best tool. Like it seriously is, like in a good way. Like it's evolving so rapidly, which I think ties us back, if we're circling back to the topic here, about ways that we can get to $1 million. Like I don't think I've ever experienced like any software or any technology that is improving at the rate this is. So for me, I'm getting back to the topic, like I said, is, how to make $1 million in AI. I'm going to say what is absolutely fundamental in most uses, if you're really trying to build like let's say the next generation app, whatever, is data. So if I were people and I was just looking to develop an app that's really AI based or I would be trying to collect as much data as possible right now. I have worked for data companies that were not AI, and I know they're going to kill it in AI, like largest databases, like top three in the world kind of people. And I know how it can be monetized. I think the potential here for monetizing specific data that's tagged in whatever catalog correctly, I think there's a huge opportunity, Colin.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you on that. And it's interesting because data is unique, and that's something unique and proprietary that you have that no one else has. When you combine with that with the AI, then you've got something. All right, magnificent. Thanks for jumping on board. I called your name out there earlier. Sorry about that, but
No, no, that's okay. Yeah, nice to see
we love having you
everyone.
on the show.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad. I love to be here. Yeah, so what I was doing today, just to give you an example, was I took so in order to, I have discovery calls on my site, half hour discovery calls, complimentary sessions, whatever you want to call it. And what I'm doing is I'm taking all the questions that I currently have and I'm putting them one by one into AI. And then I'm having them come up with something that they think might be a better question. And then in addition to that, I'm going into my Calendly and I'm taking an CSV. I would never know how to do that. My assistant helped me with that. She keeps me honest. And I put that into Calendly. So it and now analyzed when do most people make, when's my most common appointment times, when are people, what times are people booking, and then then I had it make suggestions to create some FOMO within the Calendly. So I'm probably, very basic, because I haven't even purchased anything like an AI or anything like that. I'm just using the free version. I'm using Copilot right now. So that's just something I just happen to be doing today. So I thought I'd share.
I think that's brilliant. And I had not thought of that, but I can imagine if I'm hearing what you're saying, what you are trying to address is somebody opening up your calendar and the most desirable dates are available, right?
Exactly. And
Oh
then
my
creating
God.
some FOMO.
I love, are you a psychiatrist? Like, I think that's pretty,
Yeah, I'm a
yeah.
registered dietitian. So
Well, you're a real entrepreneur and like, yeah, I think that's really quite brilliant, and I hadn't thought of doing that. That's the kind of things I'm sure people are trying to do with ads as well, right? And email. It made me first think, oh shoot, maybe I should do that on my email too, because every time I send out one of my big email blasts, I'm like, okay, is this a good time? Oh my gosh, and I go back and I look at the data and I look on ChatGTP and okay, it's okay. But you know what? Maybe I should just put all that data in AI. I love this. I love this. So for me, I think there's a lot of marketing optimization, and I'm not just talking about making pretty pictures and poems and copy, all that's lovely. But I mean like some things to like really tell me, hey, hey, bitch, this isn't working, and hey, this is like, I would love to have that. Like, just tell me what to do almost once
I
you
hope
have
you
the
don't have
data.
your. I hope you don't have your AI talking to you like that. Look,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You better believe it. Yeah. I'm in the raw, like just give it to me mode. I want help. I don't have time, That would be funny, right? We could program little kind of personalities for responses. Is that possible now, Colin? You said you went to the robot mode.
Yeah, yeah. There's different. Yeah, ChatGPT allows you to do different sarcasm, direct, whatever, different response types. I like the sarcasm, but let's focus on the show here for a minute. Today, we're talking about how can you make $1 million using AI. I use the example of apps as one of them. One of the ways that you can create apps as long as you can envision it. And by the way, I am working on this. Okay, I'm not. I know I got a lot of businesses, but the reality is I'm working on this one. It's an app, and I've never coded an app before. It's not Rummy Gummy. Rummy Gummy was sort of my test app. It's one called Quirkle, not Quirkle, Quibbles. Sorry, Quibbles. Quirkle's already out there, but Quibbles. And I came up with the idea 20 years ago, and we had a software development company at the time, and they just never got around to developing it. It's been stuck in my brain, and it's a really cool game. Hopefully, you'll all be able to play it eventually. But I'm going to use the AI to help step me through every step of it. Okay, creating now we can create the app. Okay, isn't that amazing? You can create an app with AI. Okay, fine. Let's move on, right? But you do have to pay. Yeah, even with Claude Code, I hit the limit after about 20, 30 minutes of the $20 a month, and then they asked me to pay the $100 a month, and I'm like, ooh, do I really want to make that leap? And I'm telling myself, don't be stupid, Colin. This is the future. You've got to learn to live in the future. If you want to live in the future, you've got to invest the money in that. You got to put yourself. You got to spend the money, and that's the haves and have-nots of the internet. And that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're simply trying to crack the code here. Can you use AI to make $1 million? So I know we can go in 7 different directions. I'm curious, Jason, if you like are if you said you were working on songs. You say your songs are better than everyone else's.
no,
And
no, no. I didn't say that. I said
oh,
they're
let
better
me
than
ask the
they
question though. Let me
were
ask the
when I
question though.
paid a guy. I said they were better than mine before when I
They're pretty
paid
damn good. I could
studio
probably tell you they're
engineer.
pretty damn good because the stuff like the theme song we came up for Startup Club, it's pretty damn good. It's stuck in my head. But no, my question to you was really not about the music. It was about, are there certain areas, like for instance, if AI developed a game for me on an app and I love the game, do you think I give a damn? But if an AI develops a song and someone sings it, maybe I don't like that so much. What do you think?
I don't see the big difference in when people say that they don't like I've heard artists say this, right? They don't like for a practical example, I was at a Vancouver film festival and I had to go pick up, flyers from this artist. She remembered an artist back in Toronto and she said she heard my song and she said it sounded like the AI just listened to this other rapper from Toronto's song and just copied it from like I mentioned that I worked at Microsoft after 1999. She said, "Oh, it just listened to such and such a song from 1999 and copied his song." It's like it's all my lyrics, and I don't know why she had this. She was very upset, and I'm like, I haven't even made any money from this. Like, why would it? Why would you think it just copied his song? And I just don't understand because like I used to pay a studio engineer and now I pay Suno. So what's the difference? It's still my idea. I don't understand what the difference is.
Yeah, I think that's like, I mean, that's the big question, right? It's a huge question to solve with all this. Like, at what point is it original? At what point is it not original? Like, oh my God, you know what, Jason? I think this is a conversation that's going to be going on long after we're gone. This is a
Well,
hard
look
one.
at it like
It's a hard
this.
one. I'm just
Oh,
saying
sorry.
it's a hard one.
When you like say I didn't learn how to play the keyboard, right? So I paid a studio engineer that knew how to play the keyboard, and he took me in the studio in 2005. And then I said, okay, this is what I'm thinking in my head, a tune. And then he plays it on the keyboard. Isn't that a computer? Isn't it a computer? Like
You're
I
saying
get the
humans are
difference for a
computers?
computer.
Yeah,
Of
like
course,
who
a
did the
keyboard is a
melody?
computer. It's a computer.
Who did
It's
the
just a
liner
different kind
note?
of
Like
computer.
I don't know. I'm not understanding. Who did the music? Who actually wrote the melody?
And then he plays it on the keyboard, and then we come up with the song. Now I cut out the studio engineer, and I'm putting it into another computer instead of a keyboard, right? And then it produces a song. It's still my idea. What's the difference if I'm paying Suno or if I'm paying
Do you
a
write the
keyboard?
melody in Sumo? Like I don't know. I'm
Yeah, I can.
actually
Yeah,
asking the
yeah. I
question.
actually do. I actually do. I
You
actually
upload it
don't.
or
I don't write
something?
the
Because
melody, but I basically explain the kind of song I want. I put in the lyrics, and I'm a poet, right? So I've been writing poetry since 1988. So now I write the poetry,
Colin
and
likes
instead of
poetry
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. So it's his poetry if he writes the song and puts it in. What's the difference with that than if he pays somebody
Uh
else
huh.
to key it? I think it's the same thing. It's still his work, as
I
long
mean,
as it's not taking away from somebody else's intellectual property. And they try to program that so they're not. But a lot of artists are inspired by other artists. If somebody said they're inspired by Prince and then they write a song and it sounds a little bit like Prince, then what's the difference? As long as they're not copying too many notes, they actually have a calculation for that, a
yeah,
note
they
system.
do. I know that for sure. All right. Well, my point was just to illustrate like this is a gosh, it's a debate that's going to go on and on and on long after we're alive. I have the feeling, and it'd be interesting to see where it goes, at least in the near term, about what's original versus not, especially in the creative artistic world that we live in. So I want to make sure we have time for some of our other folks. I see next that we have Susie in the on the stage. Susie, love to hear your thoughts on this controversial
Well,
topic.
first of all, thank you for having me. I believe Sandesh is before me. I came up after, so I don't know if you want to.
Sandesh, did you want to
I'm
go
happy to
first
speak.
or do you want Susie? It's whatever works for you guys.
I'm fine either way. Oh,
Okay. So I can go because I have something to say to the Suno thing, having worked in the music industry for 22 years. So I found it quite intriguing, if you don't mind, of course. So being in the studio with a lot of the people that you have bought music of for 22 years, and I love the technology. I love that a lot of songwriting. I know so many creative people, and people have an archive of phenomenal writing. And sometimes the hurdle has been getting the producers going into the studio, but now you can actually put your creative input into the AI and get something back, and play around with genres as well and BPMs, and would I like it to be a slow song, or would it be mid-tempo? Is it something for the dance floor? And you can now really within seconds get the different tempos. And but I will say this to you, and this is from the music industry side of this, okay? So I find that if you find a song that you like that's contemporary on Spotify, then what it does is it naturally creates a playlist for you. So it will find similar songs to play on the back of that song, And what it's doing at the moment is prioritizing the AI generated songs. And I found myself getting very irritated in my car. And just because having worked with songwriters and producers, there is something very nuanced about the way that AI creates top lines, which is songs, okay? The way that it sings the melodies and the stacking. And most importantly, because I work in wellness as well, what's lacking at the moment through the AI generated music is the soul, the intention, the emotion.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah. And so I think from a musicality, like if you had the chords, and I mean, now what Suno's done, which is beautiful, I love that they've added this element to it. They now give you like a Pro Tools session file segment, right? So you can literally sing the vocals in and put it in like you would do if you were in a music studio. You can create the instrumentalization. You can even put live, like if you can play the keys, you can put a few notes in. But what AI, I believe, will never be able to do is it will never be able to bring the human emotion, and creativity is a transfer, or it's a transference of frequency and emotion. It's when we get emotional, when we feel something, that travels through the content piece, whether someone's playing the violin, whether it's someone playing the keys, whether it's someone's voice, it's that, that feeling, and the feeling evokes a feeling.
You know
And I
what
have,
you made
sorry.
me think of is to yeah, I have people very close to me that are professional musicians. Is like, sometimes that mistake is what gives it that soul, Susie, right? AI doesn't want to make a mistake. It doesn't want to do that that dissident kind of sound, that little scratch, right?
I mean, look, and someone said that it does. I wrote a song for a friend on his birthday. I listened to the song back, and me and my mother cried because it was so beautifully like him. And then I gave it to him, and he cried, and all of his circle cried. I'm not saying that AI generated music is devoid of evoking emotion. What I'm saying is that there's a deeper layer of frequency transfer that comes from human compositions, human played instruments, human voice when we hear it. And that's why now I'm finding that I'm playing a lot of old school songs on my Spotify because I'm kind of tired of hearing the AI generated stuff. But that's me. My ears are different. I've been in studios. I've spent 16 hours in studios with live musicians, so I'm very different, and I'm in the business. So, and just to round off, what am I doing that is AI generated? I am working on a phenomenal project with a group. I'm managing a label. It's not my label. I'm managing on behalf of the owners. And we created some assets to go to South Korea to a conference called MUCON, which is, I mean, Asia is doing phenomenal with K-pop. And so the idea was let's create out of this group superpowers, characters, and let's create an anime that sort of tells you the backdrop of how they acquired their superpowers. And we walked into MUCON, and at the MUCON was SME Entertainment. Those of you that are in the music industry, SME Entertainment has led in the K-pop sector for 20 years, because K-pop originally started up as J-pop, which was Japanese pop, and then Korean pop took over and sustained itself across all of Asia, and now it's coming out into the wider world as we see it through the anime. And so Mr. Lee, the owner of that, and we met through Sony ATV, the owner of that, we met the owner of Empire, we met lots and lots of heavyweight industry giants out in the conference. And because of our anime piece that we created, because we attributed superpowers to each of the group, because it was, great Asian pop, with a twist, and with the visuals, which were because of our timeline. We did fully lean into AI, but we did it properly, and it was really high end AI anime. Yeah, every single person we met in South Korea said, how can we work together? As a result of which, we've got great publishing deals now with Sony ATV. We have a H&M. H&M is the only Western outlet, fashion outlet, that is prevalent across the whole of Asia. That's Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, South Korea. We've now got a co-branding endorsement opportunity with H&M. And now we're working in partnership with Mr. Lee's new company. He's sold SM Entertainment, and he's doing something new this year. And this was all because of the AI. And so, are we going to hit our million? We absolutely are. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to share
That's
that
Yeah, and can
awesome.
story.
you
I
can
love
you
this.
do you think it's realistic to think that you can actually write a song and make $1 million? I mean, I think it's easier to do the app because people don't. There's different people, humans. They interact with art a little differently, right? If they know AI did it or it was done, like they don't want to use it, but they don't care if they use an app that used AI to create it. So I wonder though if there's a difficulty using these apps to make songs that could make you $1 million. And
No,
I don't know.
can I give you an answer? Can I,
Yeah.
Colin? May I? The beauty of this right now, and I think for me at least personally, it's made my life so it's made my life so much easier from a research perspective. But speaking to music, like specifically, what Suno and other music apps do is it allows you. There was a gentleman here who was saying that he's a writer himself. I believe it was Jason, as a matter of fact, and that he has a catalogue of songs that he's written. Now, Jason can take his songs and he can say, make this a BPM of this. So he can make a ballad of that song. He can make a mid tempo. He can say, make it like R&B, make it pop, make it K-pop, make it. And he can make so many different versions of that song that he's written until he strikes gold. We have never been able to do that before. We have never been able to take because if you think classic songs, the songs that have stood the test of time, have been remade and remade into country and western, pop music, R&B, they work because the top line is so powerful and it resonates and it's timeless. And so, what now creatives can do is take their poetry, take their songs, and do multiple different genres until they find the one that they know in the market is the strongest. My advice, my humble advice is at that point where you've got your strongest AI generated asset and you're like, this is the one, this is the best version. I would say integrate the AI, but on the vocal side of it, get vocalists to sing the actual vocals. The composition, the music, the production is fine. It just needs the human voice because the way that the voice stacks, the melodies, the harmonies that the human can create, the stacking and the delivery of the emotion on the lead vocals, the AI isn't there yet. Can it get there? If it studies enough of us, but it still won't be able to translate that feeling because it's not feeling like we feel. But that's just my humble opinion. Things may change. The beauty of this space is we don't know what's around the corner. It may well be here with us in about 3 months. Who knows? That would be very scary, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking about that with AI, you can write a lot of these songs, but you can't. The human element is so key and so critical. And but that being said, a lot of these artists, many of them had never written the songs themselves. They were already written by someone else, like Jason was talking about. Can you make $1 million using AI? Ask the AI that question and see what answer you get back. That's the answer I got back pretty much was don't waste my time. And then I said, well, I have an idea for an app, and here's the idea. And I went through the idea, and can you help me design it, build it, launch it? And he says, okay, now we're on the right path. And I do think that you can be a master of all trades if you know just a little bit. Even like law, for instance, legal aspects and contracts. You need to know enough to know the AI is not hallucinating. You need to know enough to know how to understand whether the code. I don't even know about this one actually because I'm not a coder. But the reality is, you need to know enough to ask the right questions. And when you get stuck, don't panic, just go back to the AI. I would take a screenshot. I do that all the time now. I don't know how many times a day I do it. I take a screenshot, I go back to the AI, I say, here's the issue I have. And it says, okay, this is how you deal with it. Yes, we are only limited to our imagination, and entrepreneurs are no longer jack of all trades. We're masters of all trades, not masters of none. All right, you've been very patient. Is it Fan? Fan, you're up next.
Yes, hi Colin.
Hi. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, like when it comes to web apps, AI has definitely made it much easier. So I was actually having a idea for a web app since quite a long while. Like I've been in digital marketing for almost 5 years now, and I had a web app idea in the same field, and I have been sitting with that idea for 3 years. I've tried reaching out to my close circle. I've tried reaching out to my extended circle, trying to, build that app. I first built it on Bubble. If anybody knows it here, it is a no code platform to build web apps. But I built it there, and then I went and approached my friend who's actually a developer. He told me about the migration issues. If I built the complete app on Bubble, it would be hard for me to migrate it to a different platform. it it might require the developer to code everything from scratch, even if I build the complete thing on Bubble. And pricing was also an issue when it came to Bubble. But now, after like AI was capable enough to build web apps. I was able to build the entire front end of that web app just using AI. Now my web app's front end is almost 80-90% done. Now I have to connect it to a database so that I can actually get it to function. It is, since
Right.
it has a lot of database actions going on, it is
Yeah.
very data driven.
Yeah, I mean the AIs aren't quite 100% there yet on the coding and all that, and they sometimes do need the expertise to finish the final steps. But thank you very much for that, Fan. We appreciate that. I mean, can you make $1 million using AI? Yeah, you can't ask it directly, but you can ask it to guide you and become that master of all trades. Doctor, really enjoy having you join the show again. We'd love to hear from you on your thoughts about the AI. Can you make $1 million using AI?
So I really loved what you have in the newsletter and your journey with saying to AI, I want $1 million. And it's like, yeah, really take a hike. And then when you got specific, and this is the beauty of AI, I think, is that it's really meant to be integrative. And we need to keep it that way. And when you say to it specifically, and whenever I teach goal setting, there's a big difference between goals and intentions. A lot of people will just set goals and say, I want $1 million because everybody else is saying that. But if you set an intention which is aligned with your purpose, with your highest why, then everything seems to trickle down and your motivation is also sustainable. So, for example, you said, well, but this is what, is my love. My love is music. Excuse me. My love is music. My love is, helping orphans. My love is whatever it is. And I want to have a profit or a nonprofit. And in order to be successful, I need $1 million. Help me make $1 million. Then it becomes specific. Then you have alignment, and then AI does in fact go through and give you steps that you may have missed, tell you what to do. And like you've done and you've shown beautifully, you ask it what to do, and then you ask it what it may have missed, and it fills in its own blanks. And the next thing you know, you've got a step-by-step instruction booklet for how to get to what is not just a goal that may leave you feeling like a bigger failure, even though you have $1 million because you don't feel fulfilled, but you fulfill a goal that is in line with your purpose. And I think that's amazing because that's the biggest win-win of all.
Yeah, and I think that if you go back and if you think about it for a minute here, we go back even 2 or 3 years. We don't have to go back very far at this point. You could, if you wanted to launch let's say you design a product and you want to launch it on Amazon and put it on Chewy or whatever, and you get it out there or put it on QVC, whatever it is. It took a lot of knowledge, and you have to hire a lot of experts in all those spaces. Now you can actually, oh, I have an idea for a product, and you can actually help it. It can help design it. And once you get that design, it could even probably write the patent application. Okay, that's nice. That's a nice add-on. You go beyond the patent, you get into, okay, now I need to take this product onto Amazon. Well, I don't know what I'm doing, but you can ask Amazon and it will tell you what to do. And oh, I want to do a Kickstarter. Oh, we'll do a Kickstarter campaign. Well, here's the best way to do a Kickstarter campaign. Oh, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. I've done that before, by the way. I've said, "Oh, I'd like to get 1 million views on this video." By the way, it never. I followed the instructions to the T, and we only got 150,000. And it was a music video that we came out with that was AI designed to make. And I'm like, I've never built or designed a music video in my life. Okay, and we used AI to do almost all of it, and except for the original words, which I pumped into it, But that being said, it can help you get through the path. It can help you deal with the challenges and look at the opportunities and lead generation too. I mean, I've used it to say, okay, I need to know the following people from the following organizations. Give me their names and numbers and email addresses. And it, I use deep dive sometimes. Sometimes the deep dive works a little better on AI on the Chat GPT. I don't know what they call them on Gemini, but using deep dive can sometimes get you a lot more accurate information, especially if you're going into looking for lead generation and that kind of stuff. All right, if you're in the audience, we're going to close the audience in about 2 minutes. If you want to raise your hand now would be the last chance to just jump on stage and share with us how you think you can make $1 million with AI. If it was that easy, everybody would do it, right? But I think it is that easy.
Well,
That's
it's
a
easy
question
to
for
use
everyone
it,
on stage there.
right? And like
I
we
think that
said, it's still our idea. So let's get Sandesh. Sorry, Sandesh, we didn't mean to skip you, and we should have come back to you faster. But thank you for raising your hand. What would you like to say, Sandesh?
yeah, I'm working in that AI space for a while, and from a technical standpoint, if you want to make $1 million in AI, is try to create AI products for your particular domain where users are using AI products to create products with the aim of either reducing the token or providing them highly curated data sets, or C would be providing custom agents which can incorporate within their AI workflow, which reduces hallucination. That's one thing that I think if you are part of a particular domain, you can use those proprietary data to not necessarily create a product, but to sell a very customized shovel for others, which help them in creating a better product, similar to like a no code platform. And that is where I think you can make multi-million dollars in AI. The second one is at a very specific, we talk to digital marketing folks. The biggest thing that is coming up is we all knew about search engine optimization. Now that has become a little less relevant because how LLMs browse context or content on the website, that has changed a bit. So a big unexplored field is optimization for AI answers. And where do AI typically scrape to get the most human believable answers is it typically scraped Quora or Reddit or like blogs like which are repeated. So now trying to understand by hit and trial for certain keywords where your answer comes in the top AI results is the game. It's a Wild West territory.
LLM, yeah, it's LLM optimization. And I'm
Exactly.
totally with you on this one, Sandish. Like, yeah, I've changed the way we're writing our content on our e-commerce website, paw.com, paw.com. I actually have the AI help me once I come up with the topic and what I want to write. Because again, I'm not just asking it to write it for me. I ask it to then SEO and LLM optimize for me and also give it to me in HTML. Because guess what? Guess what? LLM likes
What?
FAQs. Right now, at least they do. So you better be putting FAQs in your blog post, people. I put it now at the end and I use an FAQ schema because, if you know about
The
optimization,
one
you,
thing
you
that I would
need for this content to, adhere to a certain schema. It makes it much easier on the crawlers. So that's some really good insight, and I completely agree with you on this,
One,
Sandesh.
can I give you one suggestion? When you're creating these FAQs, do make sure to append a sample prompt to make sure it does not look AI generated. And you can either get the AI answer to some other AI answer and make sure and ask it to make it non AI generated. The reason for that is as these new AI models are getting more hungrier for data, they would be sort of start filtering out or start putting up mechanisms to detect AI generated data, because for them to train further they need to train on original human data. So if they're starting to get training on AI generated data, it's becoming AI is now learning on AI
Right,
slop. So that's
right.
something
All right, well, this
for
is great. Like, I
example.
could go down a rabbit hole with this real fast. I love this topic. I think there's so much potential here. As you said so succinctly, to LLM optimize. But, we're really have 8 minutes left. We're very cognizant of people's time. So we need to go pretty quickly here. But I see, Elle, did you have anything that you would like to add to the conversation?
Yeah, hey, I'm sorry I didn't catch this room earlier. I was lost track of time. But no, I was going to say, so I'm in a space where I do a lot of optimization, mostly for large enterprise, and people have not really looked at using AI as much, looking at for business to business, for like as more of a tool, as a help aid. I would say look into more centered everyday problems that need to be solved. One of them is in the healthcare industry, is how doctors or therapists interact more with their patients and monitoring, and almost maybe creating an easy tunnel between the therapist and the patient, where the patient is journaling and stuff and the therapist can actually monitor more for certain social cues so they can be more attentive to their patients. Solve for simple everyday problems. And if you're doing it business to business, and you're creating a tool for the business that already has an audience, they can push your product for you. Whether you decide to do a subscription base where it's part of their therapy, or they buy licenses. People overlook like user licenses. If you do bulk licensing for your product, that saves you from having to go out and reach out to users individually.
Yeah, this is great. Like, we could do a whole session about that. Those kind of techniques. This is great. And uses. Like, maybe that's one we should do, Colin, after this. We're talking about how to get rich, but I think there's these micro segment, these winning moves that you would say, or I would say micro moves that you could do. Especially if you have deep knowledge in a specific vertical, like Elle appears to have. Like, that's where I think you're going to find opportunities. You know what? I know I talked around the corner here, around the bush, but I think that's where you find opportunities, right? Where do
Yeah.
you have expertise, and where do you see there's really ways to help improve?
Yeah. Always look for improvement. In my space, which is my company's called Smart Innovator Space, because I want to innovate smartly. I try not to create things that remove users or remove people. It's more like an added helpmate to
Yeah,
make it better. So my goal is for
love it.
improvement, not to replace.
Thank you, Elle. All right,
Expert. So take this advice as as you see it. But we've been using this at Startup Club. What we do is we take these shows and we get the transcript, and then we put the transcript into AI and we create an article from that. And we've been getting the front page of Google on almost every article, including these shows. So, and then I did some other cool tests when I've gone into Facebook groups, written articles based on the data from there on that particular community. I went onto LinkedIn and I posted, "Hey, I'm working on an article. I'd love to hear what your favorite movie is for an entrepreneur." We did that. We had 21 answers and we posted them, and we get the number second spot on Google for that. But yet I used AI. I took the AI and cut and paste LinkedIn. So what I've seen throughout all of these particular content generation strategies is that we are using real and raw data. Okay, it's real and raw. And when it's real and raw, the AI loves it. So I'm talking about real people say these statements, it's real information. If you try to take AI and have it do things for you and you spit it back at AI, it's going to spit it back out. So real and raw. But how do you harness real and raw? You can use AI, and that's the difference between those two. So content, you can do a lot more with content today than you used to be able to do with content,
All
and
right.
I think that's interesting.
All right, let's get to Catherine.
Oh, I had one more thing, just super duper fast, just an idea for the moderators. And I don't know how many founders are you connected to, but have you ever thought
Mhm.
about having a date night between startups and other founders? And maybe,
That's cute. We could have lightning rounds, right?
yeah, yeah. And then
For
that way,
Valentine's Day.
for me, yeah, for me,
Yeah.
like I have a problem with, like, I want to find the right founder. And a lot of times that's more like
Oh gosh.
connecting to them.
All right,
And
I love that. It's kind of like helping each other connect in the community,
yes, yeah,
right? Okay, I got you. I got what you're saying.
yeah. So if you
Yeah,
need
I
help
think.
with that, let me know. But that was an idea that I've
All
always
right, we
had.
will. Can you send us an email?
Ooh, where's your email?
All right,
Hello
Mimi.
at startup.club. Yeah.
Hello
Yeah,
at startup.club. Okay.
So not only
yeah.
you can
No
make $1 million,
com, just
get
startup
AI to
period club.
yeah.
Awesome. All right,
Yeah.
let's get to Catherine. Catherine, love to hear what you have on your mind.
Okay. So I put things in the chat and it goes along with what some have been saying that for therapists or even for any individual to have some support on many levels, therapeutically, energetically healthy. So I wanted to share, but I thought, boy, it's my affiliate link. I'd love to share and I don't have it handy. So if you message me or, we can do it whenever. But they have a great trial period and it's a good model to see how they've developed this. And they have live Zooms and coaching and books. And it's a very special new type of therapy that's very healing, oriented. It's not drugs. It's not, you don't have to say anything out loud. So that's pretty cool. And they do use an AI component in there optionally. And I'm going to Creative Con,
Well,
which I'll learn a lot about everything there.
where's
And
that at?
that is right in Chicago, coming
Okay.
right up. And I'm going to Onyx Singal's event down in DC in September. And he's got a nonprofit to teach AI all over the world. He feels
Oh,
this will
that's
help
gonna,
close the
yeah,
gap between kids, all over the world.
interesting.
Yeah.
Good cause. All right,
All
thank you,
right.
Catherine.
Most
All right,
welcome.
let's go to Sound Tech. DJ.
Yeah, good morning. Are you hearing me clear?
Hey, tell us
Good.
what's on your mind.
Yeah, good morning. This is DJ Alan, sound tech from Los Angeles. Yeah, my wife is editor of a newspaper. She used ChatGPT and she even created her own ChatGPT, like whatever she asks, whatever she create is like, you know, a big help to publish, to format a book, to create and then create with clients. Yeah, she always said, be blubber and then I can make it happen. While the client is driving or eating, just blubber and then, yeah, she created an AI that understand her. So it's a human and AI at the same time. So yeah, ChatGPT and AI is a big help for us to find clients for book publishing, whether you have a book already or you don't have yet. So I'm complete. Thank you.
All right, Colin, I think we're getting to the end of actually, we are at the top of the hour here. I think this show really turned out well. And particularly because we had so many people come on the stage. Like each one of
Yeah,
you
and I don't
really added something.
feel like we just touched the surface, right? We really didn't really
Yeah.
get. So we probably should keep rolling into 2.0 next week, and then we can combine the transcripts from next week's shows, make the article. Let me also add one more thing: is Startup Club. If you've seen the show or whatever, I wrote a book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, won 39 global awards, and there was no AI used at all in the making of that. And ironically, there was very little AI used in the making of the Start workbook, the official workbook, and the Scale workbook is going to come out next month, which is the most comprehensive book you've ever seen in your entire life for scaling a business. You'll never see anything like this. It really takes everything in the book and expands upon it like tenfold. And we partnered with two other companies to launch the Scale book, Rhythm Systems and Dan Larson and Jack Daly's
And
sales
oh my
strategy.
gosh, I got a preview of that. I know Mimi and Colin and some others have been working on this. Like, it's amazing. I can't wait for it to be available to all of us.
But here's where we use the AI. So we have these GPTs. We incorporate it throughout. So as you're filling out the workbook, it's it's literally you can do it with a pen. A pen. Every exercise you can do with a pen. But then at the bottom, there's a QR code and a domain name or a domain name. You can just scan the QR code, open the GPT, and it can help you solve problems. Give you an example. It's like it can help you create core values for your statements for your company. It can help you identify personality profiles and then use those profiles to hire great leaders. And we actually put proprietary data into the GPTs as well. So there's a lot of unique stuff that you can get from our GPTs versus a generic request on AI. All right, so you've been listening to Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, Serial Entrepreneur Secrets Revealed. This is their show. This is the podcast we do every week, but it's live. It's on Clubhouse, and we love it when you come on stage and ask questions or help solve problems or share your expertise. We are also looking for contributors, right, Mimi, on Startup Club. I mentioned every article now gets the top page of Google. If you're an expert in a particular area, we'd love to have you write and be a contributor on Startup Club. You just have to send an email to hello@startup.club. And Mimi will be she's the editor, and she'll give you some guidelines to design those articles around. But thank you for listening. We'll see you all next week. I think we're going to keep this topic going next week, Michelle.
I
We'll
think
roll with
so.
it.
But
Yeah.
let's tell everybody happy Valentine's. And it's, this is great. I love it. It's Friday the 13th and Valentine's Day is tomorrow, just like life, right up and down. So this has been an amazing highlight of our week. And we thank you so much for spending your time with us.